What's up, everyone? This is Bill with BLR Tuning. You guys know what time it is. Today we got another little video for you guys. And first off, let's check out today's watch. This is a Invictus Sub Aqua, and this is actually a shutter, so you can spin this dial here on the side and open it all the way up to reveal the watch face. You can see here it's got the dragon heads for the buttons, the crown. To get into the crown, you open that up. It does have the dragon scale with the yellow gold, and it does have diamonds on all of the large numbers on the clock face. Kind of see the diamonds in there blinging. Really cool watch, very over the top, huge watch. Anyways, I got a video for you guys. My friends over at AUTVPRO have sent me out their LED auxiliary light for the Can-Am Ryker. So this is going to mount up on the hood. Okay, and it does come with a little 2-pin connector. So you will need to drill a hole in the hood. If you have one of those plastic panels already on top, it's going to replace that. A hole will get drilled, the wires run through, then you connect your 2-pin plug. It does plug into the auxiliary light port. So you could wire this to a aftermarket LED like toggle switch if you wanted to, or simply by cutting these wires and using a positive and negative off of those wires if you wanted to do that way. Or you can have it so it runs on the auxiliary port underneath the left hand side service panel up above the headlight. So if you're sitting on a bike, that left hand panel. Okay, there's a total of 8 pins that we're going to pull out using a plastic pry tool. We will need a Phillips head screwdriver. In their instructions, it does say that it's a Torx bit, but they give you Phillips head screws. We will need a 10mm drill bit, so we'll be using that guy right there, and that'll be for our hole to get these wires through. Okay, so the first step, we'll go out to the bike, we'll remove the panels. You'll need to remove the hood. That's what you're going to be working on. You can bring the hood back into the bench and do this work here to get this on. We'll need to get to that upper left-hand panel, so we'll go remove those. We only need to remove the one side, the left side upper panel. We don't need to remove both sides. In their instructions, they do have pretty detailed instructions, but in the instructions, it does say to remove both panels. It shows the bike in the pictures with both panels removed, but we don't need to. And then the other part, questionable on their instructions, would be right here. It says note black wire in position 1 and red wire in position 2. They are referring to these wires, and they show that plug. However, when you look in here, you can see there is a red wire and a black wire, and those are in, black wire is in position 1, red wire is in position 2. So we will use the black wire, and we will put it into that same spot it says, but you can see there's a blue wire on here. So that blue wire will become our positive wire, which they're referring to the red wire. But then when you look at the photo here, it shows position 1, position 2, and it shows black wire in position 1, but that's a red, clearly a red wire, and a black wire in number 2. So don't get it confused. I will show you when we go to wire this plug, when we come back in after we're done with the bike. I'll show you exactly how this thing gets wired up and what wires go where. But basically, if you look at this plug, this black wire needs to line up with that black wire. And you look here, that's in position 1, so we'll be putting our black wire in position 1, if that makes sense to you guys. Okay? That's just one thing. I've read through these instructions already, so I kind of noted what was a little misrepresented there with the photo versus the wording. Okay, the wording is correct, so don't worry about the photo and what it's showing. The wording is actually correct, because the black wire is actually in position 1, which is what it says. Anyway, just wanted to cover that for you guys. Make sure you understand that part. Okay, and then eventually we plan to have this kit from AUTVPRO up on our website. We will be carrying some of their parts pretty soon. Let's head out to the bike here. Okay guys, so this is our 2019 900 Ace. You can see it does have our stealth LED kit installed with our toggle switch. So technically we could wire it up with this toggle switch if we wanted to. We're going to run it on the auxiliary though, the way they show how to do it. But we need to remove the hood. That's just the 2 tabs. Stick your fingers under, pull up, slide down, hood comes off. And then we need to remove this panel here. So we'll undo the e-brake because we do have the e-brake lock. So we'll need to undo these 2 push rivets. Use our plastic pry tool or a flat screwdriver, pop up on them. And then we will need to remove these 2 here. Okay, so let me get that panel off and I'll show you where this auxiliary service or auxiliary plug is. Okay, so now we got that panel off. You can see your plug's gonna be right here. If you have other auxiliary stuff plugged in, there's a chance that that plug may be moved down in this area. You see like we have other stuff plugged in. It basically acts like a Y splitter. So the new plug that you're gonna be using. So this will go into there and then this will plug in to where these are actually plugged into. So plug in down here. Okay, plug in there. If you have anything coming out of there, plug it in right there so you can still use multiple accessories. If you don't have anything plugged in at all, plug this in there. Okay, and then we're gonna need to run our wire. The kit did not come with zip ties, so you'll need to have some zip ties. And we're gonna zip tie it along. And when you're under this panel, you'll see that there is already wire traveling down. We'll need to get it down, and this plug will need to be out here towards the middle, out of the way of any moving parts, because that's what's going to plug into the hood. You'll just have to remember when you go to pull your hood off that you need to unplug this. Okay, so let's get that ran and then we'll hop back in here to the shop and I'll show you guys the install for the actual panel going on the hood with the light. Okay guys, so now we have the panel back installed on the bike. The bike's put back together. It's a pretty simple process there. That takes about maybe 10 minutes to do that job. We're gonna need to remove these Torx bits here, and this is actually holding on the panel that originally came with the bike, the haze blue panel. We're gonna be removing that panel off of this hood. Okay, and that's where our light's gonna go. So we'll need to get these out, and then I'll show you what we need to do from there. Okay guys, so we got our panel off. Like I said, this hood is already drilled, but you will have these circles here with a center mark. So you'll need to use your drill bit to drill out each of these holes, and that is so you'll be drilling out. Don't worry about these ones. These were for a different panel where the squares are. Okay, don't worry about those. Leave those solid. If you already had something that used those, it will still cover it. Okay, you're gonna need, before you go ordering this kit, remember it comes with the light, it doesn't come with the hood. So go look at your hood, make sure, because I know on some rally models, I think they even mentioned it in here, that it won't work for some for the rally models. Yeah, on Ryker 900 Rally Edition models, which would also cover, I believe, the Sport as well, the front service cover trim is not compatible with the auxiliary light kit. That's because some rally models came with a different hood. So you'll need to look, and not all of them. I've seen multiple. So I've seen multiple different versions of the hood. So you'll need to look and make sure that you have these lifted circles right here. If your bike has a panel or no panel, look underneath, make sure it has these lifted spots, and that is where we are going to use our drill to drill out the holes. This one's already done. This hole back here is going to be where you're feeding these wires through, and that's why we get to the plug here. That's why the plug is not already plugged in, or else you would have to drill a massive hole to fit that plug. This makes it so these can still be used for a different panel should you ever remove this light and install something else. If you want one of those colored panels like you've seen that was on here, you would still be able to do so without destroying the hood completely. Okay, so that's how it's going to go. These 3 pins are going to go into each one of these 3 holes, and we're going to feed our wire through there. You are then going to use this little cap, and then you're going to be using a washer and the screw that goes on through there. like so. Okay, just like that. Okay, so let me get that done real quick and come back to you here. Okay guys, so we got this screwed in. You can see how it looks here. Really cool little design. It's going to point down towards the ground so it's not blinding other drivers. This would be perfectly legal to drive with. Just acts like another headlight. Okay, and it comes on with the auxiliary, so as soon as you turn on the power switch, that light is going to come on. So just keep that in mind. That light, you're not going to be able to control it unless you run a toggle switch in line with either the wires up at the top or one of these wires runs into the break in the toggle switch. You get the idea. If you know how to wire a toggle switch, we have plenty of videos on how to do it with our toggle switch. Our stealth toggle switch will work with this kit also, which we do carry on our website. Okay, so on the pin, or excuse me, on the connector, you can see there, see if we can zoom in on that. You see the 1 and the 2, the 1 being on this side. Okay, that is going to be our black wire. Okay, so remember that. I'll put it up on screen here. 1 is the black wire. So, yeah, you guys can see that there. Little plug here. Okay, so we're going to take this flat side here and we are going to push that all the way in. It's got a little rubber seal here. Okay, and we are putting that black wire into slot number 1, and then our blue wire, which they labeled as red wire, but the blue wire on the light is going to slide into number 2. Again, flat side going up towards the number, slide it all the way in. Then once you get it slid in, trying to not assemble it just yet so I can show you guys kind of how this works. This little red key, this is how you get these out of the out of their little connection. This is what locks them in. Okay, this little red key. So this little red key is vital. Things won't stay together if you don't use this. So these two flat pieces go inside to the connector, and then these ride on the outside. Okay, and once you snap that in there, you can see it's already kind of sitting in there and it won't come out. Once you snap it all the way in, after these are in there all the way, then you snap this in and they cannot come out. Okay, then they will not be able to pull back out because that locks them into there. Okay, so we'll get that all assembled. We'll go plug it in and we will check it out on the bike. It's starting to get dark here, so it'll be perfect time to look at it. Okay guys, so here you go. We can see how it all looks without the lights on. And then we can even still turn on our little stealth LED kit. And you can see how it still looks really nice. Doesn't interfere with anything. Okay, we'll turn that off. I'll put you up on the tripod and we'll check out what it looks like when I power it on. Okay guys, so now we have our auxiliary light installed, the AUTVPRO. We will hit our power switch here. You can see how it comes on. And then when we start the bike, now we have our headlights. Okay, so you can see how it kind of lights up the front of the center of the bike more out here, or the center of the ground more out here on the ground. So really cool little auxiliary light. If you want a little bit more lighting, you want to be seen a little better. Okay, so you see there with the headlights on, really cool setup. Does shine out on the ground out here in the center more, so it lights up the center. And you can see the headlights are off, they just powered off, and you can see how much it's lighting up out here. And they're timed out. Anyway, so these are, I believe, on sale right now for $89. Retail on them was, I think, a little over $100. So I'll put the price up on the screen here. That's what they are listed at on Amazon as of right now during this video. Okay, so you can see it's just a bunch of LEDs in there. So it's not using super high power or anything. So it's not like it's gonna kill your battery any quicker than the rest of these LEDs are. Anyways, that's the video, guys. Go check them out, AUTVPRO. There'll be a link in the description below. Big shout out to those guys. Always supporting what I do, supporting the YouTube channel. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.